Welcome to Recognize Maine right here on RecognizeRap.com. We got Javi in the house today. We got Seedot in the house today, the artist raised in Toronto, now local to Scarborough, Maine. He's here with us. And we got details on the biggest local event of 2018 as far as I'm concerned. Tomorrow night it's going down at the Space Gallery. Details at the end of this episode. I just want to get straight to it though, because we got so much in store for this episode here today. Javi, the R&B sensation, local to Maine, just moved out to California. He's doing big things out there already. Javi, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for stopping by Recognize Maine this episode. So I know you just moved out to California. How's that transition been like?
Honestly, at first it was really difficult just because I really couldn't find work. Pretty much I knew one dude named Murder Baby out there, and at first I wasn't getting much work, but after the second week, he really started linking me in with everybody to the point where right now, like, I feel like every single night out here, I'm getting work as an engineer. Like, last night, I recorded the TSF Factory people who are pretty much the people that made the Sauce Walker and stuff. So it's been dope because now I'm using my engineering as a form of networking to push my music. And I was doing that in Maine, but the reality is that the crowd isn't as crazy as it is in Los Angeles. So right now it's been super positive.
Yeah. Totally understandable. So how is it like recording the Sauce Factory people? Because that must have been crazy.
When I saw the niggas come through with like the super ass shiny diamond out TSF chains, I was like, oh bro, this is so lit. We're about to be super lit. So I vibe. I smoked with them. We knocked out a couple tracks, just some features and stuff they were doing. And they let me know, yo, bro, you LinkedIn now. Our other engineer, he be recording for Atlantic, so right now he's in Atlanta. So we're gonna need another person on the team. So I was like, all right, bro, you already know. So I was dumb hyped about that shit. So now the next step is gonna be, all right, yo, by the way, bro, I do music. I got this hook. Bada bing, bada boom, and see if I can start really making that connection as an artist with these dudes too.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the next step. Just keep building those relationships and just keep growing. Anything's possible. So now that you're out in California, how do you plan to attract new fans out there?
So right now, I'm trying to start attracting new fans just solely by making the connections right now. I really want to connect with all the big artists out here through me being an engineer and developing good enough relationships where I can just really work with them. And just by working with them and them putting out music with me to their crowd, I'll be able to attract some of the people I never would have attracted.
Absolutely. Now, I know that, like you said, you're an engineer, stuff like that. And I know you had your own studio in Maine where all the local artists, from the Bangor area, they'd stop by, J-Star Hefner, a bunch of other rappers up there. Javi's the go-to engineer. So do you also have your own setup in California, or are you using, more professional studios? How's that going?
Yeah, so right now I got my own setup in my apartment. But the one thing I kind of wanted to do after getting out here is I wanted to shy away from working in my studio and start working at bigger studios. So that's what I've been doing. 2 nights ago I worked at 17 Hertz, which is like where Metallica and Kiss recorded, and like Chris Brown. And last night I was at the Spot. So I'm really finding different studios to work with where people are hiring me out more freelance as opposed to me for my studio, which I think is dope because I really wanted to work I've always wanted to work in places where they have like $100,000 worth of equipment that I can play with as opposed to my like $5,000-$6,000 setup, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm super jealous, being in these major label studios. I mean, I can only imagine. So how did you even get into engineering to begin with?
So at first I was doing everything myself. And I got, long story short, I got into Berklee College of Music in Boston when I graduated high school because I wanted to be a singer-songwriter. But that shit was so expensive, bro. That shit did not work out. So I ended up, next best thing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to become an engineer. I'm going to go to school for engineering. And when I get out, it's going to be my plan B that helps me push my plan A. So pretty much while I was in college, I was recording everybody in the area, all the rappers from Bangor. I have people come from NY just to come hit my studio and record, like Ace Mob. I was recording J-Star. he was out there, and I was getting all the clientele, yo. But yeah, it was pretty much just working on my own music where I really started getting like super better.
So now that people know that you're a talented engineer, I want to focus on your music a little bit. So you just put out your music video for No Promises. I watched it. I think it's unbelievable. I mean, one of your best videos you've put out yet. So what's the public response been for that video?
It's been really good, bro. I've been really happy with what everybody's been saying lately. So No Promises is pretty much going to be the first single off my next tape. I just dropped my last tape, Both Sides, in February. And right now I have so much content that I just want to keep flooding. So I'm dropping that. Then after that, I'm going to be dropping my single, The No Plan, and that's going to have another video with it. And this is all going to be off my next tape called City of Angels EP. And it's pretty much going to be about the move to LA, me taking a big step out there. So that's why I kind of named it that.
Javi, City of Angels coming soon, people. Be on the lookout for that one. And like I said, No Promises just dropped. You can find that on YouTube. Earlier this year, I saw that Adam22 of No Jumper actually reacted to one of your videos. So what was that like?
Yo, bro, so I'm not even gonna lie, like my heart was like bouncing when that shit played. But yeah, I saw them at first, they were bobbing their head. They were like, okay, I can fuck with this shit. Adam's response was, yeah, it's good. Like, I don't hate it. He wasn't too overly enthused, but when it started playing, they were really fucking with it. So, I thought the response was really well, and that shit made me feel good, bro. Because I was kind of scared when that shit started playing. I ain't even gonna hold it.
And that's awesome to see, because Adam22 is a real honest guy. So if he thought he was trash, he would have let you know. So hey, good looks there. And right now we got an unreleased snippet of one of Javi's tracks. Let's waste no time. Let's run it.
Whoa, 'cause no, I couldn't wake up no more. No, and I couldn't wait up no more. The whole night just been so patient, but I had to go stack my cake up while cutting my chest like a breakup. No, you wasn't there through the hard times. Food stamps, check the archives. Now I'm screaming fucking part-time. Game log, got it locked down. If you ain't no bitch, it's my time.
Whew. Javi, bringing the heat right here on Recognized Maine. So I feel like you're more of a R&B artist than you are a rapper. Would you agree with that?
So right now, bro, I don't consider myself a hip-hop artist at all. I consider myself an R&B artist. And honestly, bro, I'm trying to appeal to the R&B crowd, but also the hip-hop crowd. Because growing up, bro, the reason that I wanted to do music was because of Lil Wayne. Like, that's just fact. Lil Wayne was the one person growing up that I saw, like, working with, like, this is around the time, like, Sounding Like My Daddy, when he did You with Lloyd. The people like Lloyd ended up kind of being the people that I really started looking up to and wanted to kind of vocally replicate. So that's why you'll see me working a lot with hip-hop art. Just because my sound can mesh with theirs, but at the same time, you can take songs like No Promises, or my last the video I put out before that, Let Me Know, that absolutely have like no hip-hop feel to them, you know what I mean?
Hey, name a better combination than rap R&B. I can't myself. So I know you're part Puerto Rican, part El Salvadorian, right? So how do those two cultures influence you musically?
Oh, bro, it heavily affected it. Especially, like, I know a lot of people on your show probably won't be familiar, but there's bands like Camila and Sin Bandera, which are like R&B style groups that I've listened to a lot growing up. And vocally, they are very similar to somebody like The Weeknd. So growing up, I really loved those like beautiful vocals. They could belt, but like could also be like really somber at times. Because I feel like that's predominantly what my music tends to be. I don't do too much overly happy music. It usually tends to be very somber.
Right. And I seen you perform a couple summers ago in Portland, and it was a wild performance. I knew you were talented from the moment you started to sing. So what are your keys to a good performance, you'd say?
Honestly, bro, the biggest thing is come prepared. I don't like performing songs that I just made because a lot of times I'll forget the words. So, I came with a set list that I really knew. I'd say that's first and foremost the big thing. And two, make sure you have great stage presence, because if you're up there, you look shy, especially if you're performing high energy songs like "No Better" or "Both Sides." If people see that you doubt yourself, people will automatically doubt you. There's nothing more uncomfortable than seeing somebody on stage who is uncomfortable themselves.
That's the most true thing I've heard all week. I mean, I hate going to concerts, especially, local concerts where, artists are just trying to impress the audience and they're just awkward up there. And like you said, as an audience member, you just kind of feel weird about it. So, hey, if you're performing, you got to have that confidence. You got to come prepared, just like Javi said. So, Javi, final question for you today. I know you moved out to California to chase your dreams, to become a R&B star. But what is plan B if this doesn't work out, or is there a plan B?
I've only been out here like 3.5 weeks, and I've been making crazy connections. My plan A has been always to be a huge singing star, and the way I wanted to do it was always make it as an English singer and then be able to make my transition into Spanish music, because Spanish singers and artists just in general have a way longer longevity than English artists. I feel like once you get into your 30s, people stop looking at you the same if you're an American artist, but in terms of Spanish artists, you can last being a sex symbol till your mid-40s. So my plan A was always that, but I've always been the type of person to make sure your plan B pushes your plan A. Because there's only one thing I want to do in my life, and it's music. So my plan B is be an engineer, keep engineering for big artists. But while I do that, I'm going to make sure that as my plan B really pushes me to start working with bigger artists too.
Well, Javi, it sounds like you got it all figured out in California. Best of luck to you as you continue to chase your dreams, and thank you so much for stopping by this episode of Recognize Maine. Now, we're going to get into the Seedot interview in just a minute. But first, we got new music from a local artist from Portland. His name is Fenimore Dreams, and this track here, I'm really rocking with it. It's called I'm Okay, You're Okay. Let's run it.
I'm okay, you're okay. Dream dogs until the day. Foul in the mouth, what can I say? I've been missing you, especially of late. Remember days, shallow fades. Get it for its worth before it runs away. Need to escape.
Fenimore Dreams, I'm Okay, You're Okay. That's the title of that one right there. You can find that track on SoundCloud. And now, Seedot, hello and welcome to Recognize Maine today. So I know you were raised in Toronto, and you relocated to Scarborough, Maine in the past few years. So what was that transition like, and was it difficult?
What I experienced growing up was a lot different what the kids down here experienced. So when I came with my experiences and knowledge of book smarts, street smarts, all that stuff, how to treat a person, it was very different, and I just kind of got pushed out. It wasn't like I was some bad kid they just didn't want to accept at that young age. It got kind of different in high school, but yeah, that's how it was when I first moved down here in 7th grade.
So you got a song on your album Precipice, or the song is His Life, and you kind of talk about how people, they started to treat you differently once they knew you started to do music and stuff. And because like you said, at first you were kind of an outcast when you got to Maine, and then things changed when people found out you did music. So in what ways especially did people treat you different?
The parties, a lot more girls. I'm into relationships and stuff sometimes, but I don't know, a lot of just random ass girls I'd never even talked to willing to like throw themselves, which is kind of annoying, but it's also cool, I guess. Just everywhere I go, just people being very friendly, which is obviously the opposite of what it was.
And this is going to sound random, but what do you like about Polo shirts so much? Because on your Instagram, it seems like all you wear is Polo t-shirts.
I also have a Polo tat on my left hand. I don't know. It's like when I started working for myself, I was doing some other illegal stuff. But when I was working legally for myself and finally got my mom on where I was giving my mom money, but eventually I saved my own, where I had some extra cash to spend when I was younger. I wanted to get some like designer shit to like look better at school, I guess, but I wasn't attracted to the Gucci's and the Louis Vuitton and all that shit. And I don't know, I just fell in love with Polo. It was like mildly cheap / expensive, and it just looked freaking amazing, you know? So that's where it came from.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. I mean, Polo, it's expensive, but it's not too expensive. And, you know, none of us can afford that Gucci, Louis Vuitton stuff, so I can totally relate to that. So speaking of your Instagram page, and we mentioned the Polo t-shirts, but you're also, it seems like you're a funny guy on Instagram too, because your music, you know, it's serious, it's emotional, but on Instagram, you seem like a funny character. So is that a side of you that you want more fans to know about?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got that inside emotion that they need to share sometimes, which I do through music, but when you see me out in public, don't just like stare, like take pictures, come up and say what's up, because I'll be like, what's up, you know? Yeah, very happy going.
And you got a new music video coming out very shortly. It's called W.Y.A. So why should fans be excited to see that one?
There was actors. We had a lot more props. We had a lot of editing, all this kind of stuff. Brought a car up from Massachusetts. It's just a crazy-ass video, and I'm excited to see it on my phone, but I can't wait for everybody else to be able to see it and react and want to see what everybody else thinks about it.
So the video is directed by Zachary Greeton. Shout out to Zach Greeton. So what's it been like working with him? Because he's one of the top video guys out here.
One of the biggest things is he literally takes the stress off, like, me and my whole team's shoulders. Like, when I come to him with a song that I want to do a video for, he comes back to me a week later with, you know, an idea and props and all this kind of stuff. I literally make the music and bring the money to him, and he just gets it all figured out.
So you got a music video on the way. You've also got a whole album coming out. It's called CCC. I saw you previewed a little snippet of that on Instagram. So what's that album going to be like? And is there a concept for that album?
I don't want to spoil too much, but it's CCC. If people haven't really guessed that already, or if people that don't know, it's Caleb Clifton Cairns, which is my name. And this album's really like a really deep, emotional, just 8-song. Well, I'm trying to figure out how many songs so far, but right now 8 songs, just straight up raw emotion from my experiences or just how I feel as Caleb Cairns.
CCC, the album coming soon, and right now we got an exclusive sneak peek off that album. This one here is called Sacrifices. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
You don't know my struggle, you don't know my pain. You don't know the sacrifices that I had to make. That's what I like to say, that's how I like to think. I'll come back at you swinging if you push me to the brink. But I don't know your struggles, I don't know your pain. I don't know the sacrifices that you had to make to see a better day, just the same as me.
Sacrifices, Seedot off the album CCC coming soon. So Seedot, you mentioned you like to make, you know, emotional, real life type music. So what drives you as an artist to make these type of songs?
Most of my songs are real experiences. I'm not rapping about, like, you know, drugs and like guns, all this shit. It's real stuff that I've experienced, that I've gone through, and I'm telling my story. I just want people to hear my story, and that's what kind of pushes me to make more music. I'm glad that right now we're in like fucking 100-something countries or 60 countries. I don't know. We're in a lot of countries across the world, which is crazy. Different foreign people listening to Caleb Cairns' story, so it's pretty cool. That's what pushes me to make more music.
Worldwide Seedot. And lastly, the final question. We don't have to talk about it too much because I don't want to, you know, get you in trouble, anything like that. But I know on your album Precipice, you did mention how you got stabbed in Portland. So how did that occurrence, how did that change your life and change your mentality?
I actually have a song coming out on CCC that explains exactly what you just asked. Yeah, it kind of shocked me because I always, when I came here, there didn't really get in a lot of fights in Scarborough and stuff like there was in Toronto, and it just felt like Maine was a safer place in general, and if something like that was going to happen, it would have happened to me if living in Toronto. So it was definitely a shock, and scared the shit out of me. Had nightmares for a little bit, but I think it came out like made me a better person, I guess. I take all my experiences and turn them around, try to help other people. So, but yeah, that song, it's actually called Forest Ave, and it's coming out on CCC. It explains everything, so how it happened, why, all that stuff.
Forest Ave on the album CCC. I'm excited to hear that one. I'm sure fans are as well. Well, Seedot, thank you so much for stopping by this episode of Recognize Maine. Stay safe out there and keep doing your thing. And lastly, guys, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this episode, tomorrow night is going down at the Space Gallery in Portland, the biggest local event of the year in Portland, Maine. It's called Wazo Live. We got live performances from Keisha Wazo, Dre Armani, DJ performances from DJ Freeit, DJ AF1 Shoddy is going down 8:30 p.m. That's the start time. I'll see you guys there tomorrow night at the Space Gallery in Portland. That's a wrap for this episode of Recognize Maine right here on RecognizeRap.com. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next week, guys, I'm out of here.